Alright, so hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. I hope everyone is good. So this is another session, but the most important one. We wait the entire year for these very two documents, that is one survey, along with that budget also. We try to analyze a lot many things associated with our examination, associated with our syllabus. But believe me, when I talk about one document or maybe two documents or maybe something which is the foundation of your syllabus and which is the foundation of your entire examination also, this is economic survey as well as budget. Today only economic survey has been released, and it becomes very important for all of us to understand what has been present here. Again telling you, we will be analyzing it chapter wise chapter, but this particular session is going to include just highlights of it. We are going to include what is special about this particular budget, like specifically this particular survey, and very basic information about it as well. Believe me, when I say survey and budget documents, both are important. This is actually very important from every examination perspective. Even if you're preparing for UPSC examination, even if you're preparing for regulatory examinations, it is actually super important from every examination perspective. So again, telling you, it is important from every examination. Now we'll be talking about very basics of it. What I told you, every year economic survey as well as budgets is released, right? Survey plus budget is actually released. Now what does it specify? What is the meaning of this survey as well as budget? Now this particular budget, which is known as financial annual statement also, when I talk about this budget here, it tells me that what allocation of money is going to be next year, as in this particular financial year, right? I'm specifically talking about 26-27 here. But when I talk about survey, always remember that survey is the one which acts as report card for me, which actually acts as report card for me. I want to see that whatever expenditure has been done in various of these sectors, what has been the performance of them, right? What has been the performance of those many sectors. So a report card is always specifically of the previous year, right? So what I'm trying to say here is that budget specifically is of the coming year, where we will be doing a lot of allocation of budget, and that too specifically to many of the sectors there. Survey clearly tells me that this has been the performance of these many sectors. It means this is always of previous year. This is always of previous year, as in this is 25-26 survey. Because this, like how many sectors and what has been the performance of these many sectors in 2025-26, this is what I'm going to analyze here. And it is actually very important from the examination perspective. Believe me, every chapter plays an equivalent kind of role in our examination perspective. Every chapter is actually important because it is actually fulfilled with data, right? And you can utilize this data everywhere. Okay, next part. This particular survey is very special in nature. Why we are calling it very special? Because this is all time lengthy. This is all time lengthy this year. If it is lengthy, you will be asking me question, ma'am, if it is actually lengthy, then how you're calling it as very fruitful here? If it is very lengthy, it is actually including everything, and that too in a very comprehensive manner. It has included AI as well, and that too very separately, right? It has actually included each and every part here. So we are going through a lot many structural changes in an economy. We are going through a lot many global tensions also. So it tries to include every important part. That is the reason it is very lengthy here. Along with that, why I'm calling it very special? Because this clearly says that how we are actually able to transform ourselves, right? This year, how we have actually transformed ourselves. What has been the performance in services sector? What has been the performance in the manufacturing one? What has been the performance in the primary sector also, right? we're actually going to go through a lot many challenges here, a lot many data here. Along with that, major focus has been on demographic dividend, technological change which is going on, and we are actually including very basic services also, necessities, for example education, right, for example healthcare, and mostly everything is covered here, right. This is just one reason why I'm calling it very comprehensive in nature, because the coverage has been very, very holistic in nature. That is the reason I'm calling it as this. Okay. उसके साथ साथ again telling you, we will be covering it chapter wise chapter, but this particular video is specifically oriented to key highlights only. We'll be analyzing what has been the performance of various of the sectors, how they've actually performed, and what has been the real numbers as well. We need to analyze, we need to use it in our coming days. Actually, we need to analyze every data in the coming days also, be it any sector, because you people already know you're having major portion of ESI where it includes number of portions. Primary sector agriculture is part of ESI syllabus, manufacturing one, services sector, AI, demographic dividend, and a lot many sectors. They've been exclusively covered under whom? That is like economic survey only, right? It is full data oriented. So whenever or wherever you've made your notes now is the right time to update them with the updated data also. And accordingly, even if you people are going to get maybe any descriptive question, maybe direct question from this particular survey part here, it actually becomes very important. Believe me, even if I talk from the perspective of UGC kind of examinations also, questions related to it are generally asked. So just understand the importance of survey as well as budget also. They are highly important from the examination perspective. All we need to understand is how to utilize that, and that is where you people need to invest your time on, right? All right, so this is how you're going to download this particular PDF. You need to click on the courses here, and accordingly you will be having this pop-up, and accordingly you will be able to download the PDF as well. Okay. Now coming specifically on the very basics of it. Let's understand the very basics of it, because related question can be asked in the paper also, because again telling you, the pattern also varies. If you're preparing for regulatory kind of examinations, then data related question can be asked. But if you're the one who's preparing for UPSC kind of examination, then you need to cover it and that too in a very, very in-depth manner. Okay, that is what you need to do, and that is how you need to do it here. Okay, all right. So the first question that arises here, for example, we call budget as annual statement, right? We call budget as annual statement. We see its presence, we see its legal presence as well. When I talk about survey, is it specifically mentioned in any of the constitution, right? Is it mentioned somewhere? No, the answer is clearly no. It actually acts as a report book only, right? It actually acts as a report card only, where we try to analyze what is the performance of various of the sectors, right? We try to analyze that, and we try to analyze numbers only, and on the basis of these numbers, accordingly budget allocation will be done next year, right? So this is why it is actually very important. You can clearly see it is an annual publication that has been prepared by, they can ask you who is the one who prepares it also. Department of Economic Affairs is the one who prepares it. It comes under Ministry of Finance, and that too under the guidance of whom? That is Chief Economic Advisor. So this is very important part. Direct question can be asked from this particular portion, right? Now, what is the main aim and what it includes? It includes data, it includes performance of various of the sectors, and that too of the previous financial year. Budget is of the coming financial year. Specifically, survey is of the previous financial year. Remember that, because budget is something which we are preparing, and that in that we are going to do extra allocation of budget, right? We are going to do allocation of budget for this particular financial year. But in survey, what do we include? We try to analyze the performance of various of the sectors that in the previous budget, as in the previous budget, whatever allocation of money was done that time, has that been or had that been clearly utilized or not? This is what I need to understand here, and this is what I need to analyze here. So we clearly analyze what? That is clearly performance here. So it actually gives me official data, trends and analysis. It reviews growth, inflation, employment, fiscal health, sectoral performance across various of the sectors, be it primary, secondary, infrastructure, services sector, and we also consider what is the global risk that is emerging and what are the policy challenges. Accordingly, we need to come up with the solutions as well. And this is how it is getting structured. It is actually divided into two of the parts here. The first one is worth of reviewing what that is macroeconomic developments during the year. Second one focuses on socio-economic issues, and that too very specific in nature. That are sector specific chapters that has been given, right? So it is actually divided into two of the parts here, right? Along with the one what I told you, who is the one who actually prepares it? Remember, it has been prepared by the Department of Economic Affairs, and that comes under Ministry of Finance, right? Chief Economic Advisor is the one which takes care of that. So this everything is actually very important. Now coming on to the analysis here, you can clearly see we are having 15 chapters which have been covered. The first talks about state of the economy. What is the clear status of it, right? We are going to analyze growth here. We are going to check what has been the state of the economy, right? We are going to check what is the growth here. We actually try to analyze that, and we actually tries to understand from the perspective of various of the other institutions also. For example, IMF will be projecting India's growth in another way. We will be having like survey would be analyzing it in another way. For example, if I specifically talk about the survey here, it clearly says it is going to range between 6.8% to 7.2% here, right? Accordingly, we will be trying to compare it with maybe IMF, World Bank, right? And maybe others also. So this is how you people remember that last year, as in 2025 itself, you people had one question in RBI associated with the credit rating agencies and their growth forecasting. I have made one separate session on that as well. I clearly told you that this growth forecasting is super important from the examination perspective. Fiscal developments. Fiscal development clearly says, you people know, right? We are having major of the policies here. We are having monetary policy. We are having fiscal policies also. Now, fiscal developments. Now, this is the core part here which has been covered in this particular survey, right? This puts a question on the fiscal stability that we're having. As in, this asks us, do we have fiscal deficit? Or are we in specifically surplus here, right? Are we specifically in surplus here? This all talks about the loan that we people have got from outside the world and maybe from any of the sources, and where we are doing that expenditure also. Monetary management is also part of it. Now this year they say that our economy has been very stable in nature if I try to compare it with the other worlds. Why? Just because of proper monetary policy. You remember that there has been decrease in the repo rate, and that too very continuously. You people mentioned that in the comment section, what is the repo rate now? So with the proper monetary policy changes that has taken place, okay, we have ensured that there is stabilization that is brought in an economy. Along with that, we are bringing growth also. So both of the objectives of RBI are achieved. External sector, which plays a huge important role. We are going to analyze the performance of trade. Are we in deficit or are we in surplus, or is that balanced in nature? We are clearly trying to analyze our situation with the other countries also. Like China, we are in deficit, right? We are going to analyze our situation with the other countries as well. What has been the position here? And if trade taking place, if that is in surplus, right? So which sector is actually contributing? If that is in deficit, where we are actually lacking, right? So this clearly says that, trade may we are actually doing better. And one like sector which is highly contributing here is services only, right? Is actually services only. We, as compared to like merchandise trade, services are actually still better, right? So it actually shows me this. Inflation is all time low, right? Inflation is all time low. It is also less than 2% today, okay? But what is the inflation targeting here? That is 4%. That is 4% plus minus 2%. So it clearly sees that this is all-time low. You remember, we will be analyzing this in many ways, as in accordance with CPI and maybe WPI also. That will be decoding when we people will be going for a very detailed session. In a similar way, let's analyze various of the sectors. Just say agricultural sector ho gaya, right? We want to know that, this is the primary sector we are having, and around 40% of the population is specifically dependent on the primary sector. How we are bringing betterment here? With the use of technological like aspects, with the use of digitalization, with the use of AI, what betterment we have brought in this particular sector. Services, which is acting as a new frontier, as in which is contributing in a many lot ways. Trade में it is contributing in a better way, right? It is actually contributing, it is actually better than the manufacturing sector also. Industries, this is also something that I need to understand. Investment in infrastructure, what is the investment coming in India, right? And where are we doing our expenditure also? What has been the infrastructure status? It can be physical, it can be digital as well. Environment, which is the core part. Without environment, any economy cannot even think of growing, because economics is the one which is surrounded by whom? That is the exploitation of resources. That is the exploitation of resources. But we need to remember that we are exploiting the resources, that we are specifically exploiting the resources, and that too in a very, very correct manner. So both of them are actually super important from the examination perspective here, right? This is something which was important. And next talks about education as well as health. This clearly says that education, which is going to make my demographic dividend grow, which is going to make my demographic dividend grow. So demographic dividend भी इसका part है. अगर उनके पास, if demographic dividend, I'm specifically talking from the perspective of youth, if my youth will be having better education, better health, then only they will be able to grow, and then only they will be able to contribute as well. Employment, very important part of it, and we are going to analyze what has been the quality of employment also, right? Is that more in formal sector or is that more in informal sector? That is also something which we are going to analyze. Rural development, very basics, heart of India, right? So what we are doing for them? We are having, although we are having many NEET individuals here, right? NEET individuals as in not in employment, not in education, and not in training as well. But are they contributing anywhere? Are they contributing to entrepreneurship? Are they contributing anywhere or not? So we are going to analyze their infrastructure, connectivity, and their improvement as well. Evolution of AI ecosystem is also part of it. We are going to analyze what has been the status of AI. Is it helping people? Or what are going to be its after effects also, like what is going to be its impact as well. Urbanization, very important part of it. So these are the highlighted topics here. You can clearly see 15 highlighted topics have been mentioned here. Now clearly talking on to the first one, you can clearly see it says that global policy is increasingly getting shaped by the security and political concentrations rather than the efficiency or the multilateral rules also. Now you people already know what is going on today. You never know. You wake up next morning and you, as in when you open news, as in when you go for the news, you find it there that one country has attacked another country last night. So there is a lot of uncertainty which was actually present here, right? You people already know Trump tariff impositions. You people already know geopolitical tensions which are going on, right? Geopolitical tensions going on. You people already know there is a lot of uncertainty, right? As in borders are actually not safe, right? Borders are actually not safe. This is today's time where any country can think of purchasing any another one. This is today's time where overnight there is one country who attacks another country, and of course you don't find the like leaders present there, right? So this is abducting kind of situations which are going on, that too in today's situation. Although in World Economic Forum meeting we've actually discussed about it, that Trump is the one which has actually crossed red lines also, right? So this is today's situation. Along with that, energy and finance weaponization is actually going on. Now, when I specifically talk about energy and finance, so this is associated with the conflicts as well. You consider that one country tries to attack Iran per se. Now, you people would be wondering that, ma'am, if one country is actually associated with another one, if there is a conflict going on between one country, what is going to be the impact on India? It is actually going to impact a lot. You consider Iran, or maybe when I talk about the Central Asian countries here, they are the one which are actually full of resources. If something happens there, now, of course, resources prices will be increased and there will be complete destruction. There will be complete mismanagement in the supply chain as well. So that also plays a huge importance here. Export control on technology is also part of it. Skepticism is also something which is about free trade here, right? And competition for the critical minerals is also going on. Now, you people just remember it in a way that what if we are having one country which is having, or which actually becomes the world's factory? I'm specifically talking about China. China is the one which supplies a lot of critical minerals, and you need to develop better relationship with China. If you do not bring better relationship with China here, you forget about the availability of critical minerals. So exploiting resources in your own country also becomes very, very important to consider. Okay, now this is all about the domestic stability. Like survey in itself actually ensures that even if that is the COVID time period, right? Even if that is today's time period where a lot many countries are actually focusing on being very protectionist in nature, where there is a lot of conflict which is going on, right? There is a lot of instability in the economy here, but still, if you try to find out India's growth, that is still stable. That is still stable. Now, what is the reason behind it? What do you think? What is the reason behind it? One reason is population. Clear reason is actually population only. We are having one best part with ourselves, that is demographic dividend. We are having more of young population than the aged population, and this has been mentioned multiple times. We are strong, we are standing strong just because domestic demand is high. People are consuming more, right? People are consuming more. That is the reason we don't see uncertainty, and that too within our own economy. But if you try to compare it with the global world, the growth has been very fragile in nature. Amidst this trade war kind of thing, amidst this global or geopolitical tensions which are going on, we still are having our healthy balance sheets. We are still showcasing that. We are having resilient consumption also. What do you think? What is the reason behind it? That is India's population only. India's population is actually active in nature. India's population is actually supporting domestic demand also. That is the certain reason behind it. You can clearly see what we are projecting. India's growth in 2027 is going to be in between 6.8 to 7.2 percentage, which is way more higher than a lot many institutions, a lot many projections by various of the institutions here. I've already told you these are the many key themes as well as chapters also. We'll be analyzing it one by one in the coming lectures, but this is just highlighted portion of it. As I told you, as compared to other institutions, we are still standing in a better way, right? What I told you, survey is analyzing that a growth rate is going to be in between 7.8 percentage to 7.2 percentage. This is the growth rate that we are expecting here. And I have already told you, right? You can clearly see these are the estimates, which is specifically of, this is the 2026 survey and this is the 2027 projection here. This is of economic survey, this is of IMF, and this is of World Bank, right? This is of World Bank here. You can clearly see World Bank is projecting at 7.2 percentage. We are having economic surveys projecting it at 7.4 percentage, IMF at 7.3 percentage. In a similar manner, 2027, we are projecting it as 7.2%, in between 6.8 percentage to 7.2 percentage. This is economic survey. This is IMF 6.4 percentage, World Bank 6.5 percentage. So both are actually important here, right? Along with that, you can clearly see this specifically talks about the momentum as well, real GDP growth as well as nominal GDP growth also. Now there is a difference between them, right? I tell you the concept clarity also in the coming lectures, but just understand GDP is what? This is gross domestic product. It means total value of goods and services which is being produced within a specific year, right? Now I want to do its projection on the basis, now this is further divided, right? Because this is total value of goods and services, and whenever it is having one inflation effect, it gives me what numbers? Nominal GDP. Whenever inflation is actually adjusted, it gives me real GDP. So don't worry, I'll be talking about that in the coming lectures also, but for now just remember that. Survey also says that inflation is all-time low. This is the December data itself, where it clearly shows that it is still less than 2%. But clearly telling you, as and when we'll be decoding it, I'll tell you why it is not good as well. The standard which is being set by RBI here, as in I'm talking about the inflation targeting, right? This is known as inflation targeting. This is standing at 4%, but RBI says it can go plus minus 2% also, but you need to remember that it has to come back at this particular position, right? So plus minus 2% is the exact number here. Still we are having less than 2%, right? And accordingly we'll be talking about in the coming lectures itself. But food prices here are all corrected due to good harvest. Core inflation is benign due to soft global commodity prices, and the future outlook is standing at 2.9% as of March quarter, right? Now what is the core inflation here? Basically, when I try to bifurcate inflation, that is on the basis of broadly headline inflation and core inflation. Headline inflation is the one which when you include volatile goods and services also, right? You're having one fruit basket with yourself. When you include volatile like goods and services, as like specifically when you include volatility of the prices also, that becomes headline inflation. And when you remove them from here, for example food and maybe fuel, so that becomes core inflation here, right? Okay, along with that, this also says that we are having financial stability here just because of three factors. The first says that the banking sector is also performing very good, right? In the coming lectures, whenever we will be talking specifically about the banking sector, I'll tell you what is the credit rate also, what is the credit ratio today, and what amount or what specific data it is, right? But for now, just remember that, when I specifically talking about our NPAs and GNPAs here, the ratio has been declined, right? You remember about bad loans? GNPAs and GNPAs are the one when you're not at all able to repay your loan for the longest period of time, then you get in front of your name as NPA. It means this is not at all able to repay the money, as in bad loans. If any country is having more of the bad loans, it means infrastructure is actually not that good. Monitoring is not that good. Management is actually not that good. But this says this time it has been declined. It is actually standing at its highest, like it is actually standing at its lowest this year. That is standing at 2.6%. And the credit GDP gap has been narrowed to minus 0.3%. Along with that, this says that public infrastructure is also placing a huge important role. This is specifically infrastructure. Now see, infrastructure is major part of it. Infrastructure is the one which talks about very basic connectivity here. If you're having infrastructure, it means you're having better connectivity. It can be in both of the ways. It can be in physical, it can be in digital also. But it is very important to take care of that. Better infrastructure, better growth chances there are, and that too of any specific economy. Now, this survey completely says that whatever expenditure we are doing on it, that is getting increased. Acha. Now, what is the meaning of capex here? Capex clearly means capital expenditure. Capital expenditure. It means capital expenditure is the one, capital is the one which creates assets for any of the economy, right? For example, you plan to make bridge, you plan to make one highway for say, right? Now that highway, if you're using, so it will give ease of living to people, one thing, ease of living to people. Along with that, you people will be actually earning toll, like you people will have setup of tolls there, so you people will be earning as well, right? So assets creation means if something is there which is bringing connectivity, if something is there which is creating assets for me, that is capex, and that is infrastructure part. That clearly says that private sector is also supporting this growth. And private sector advent is actually in every sector, be it education, be it healthcare, be it insurance, be it any sector. Investment intentions are getting improved. We are having healthy balance sheets, fueling activities also. Along with that, exports are also doing better. Even if we are having Trump tariffs getting imposed, even if we are continuously getting suppressed to leave Chabahar port, but still you see the numbers which are good. Now, what is the reason behind it? Again, telling you, services. Services are the one which are giving me best of the numbers. You can clearly see that the total exports in 2025 was standing at 825.3 billion US dollars, which is record high. And which is the one which is contributing high here? This is 6.5% specifically of services sector. Merchandise is contributed 2.4% itself, right? FDI trends, as in I'm talking about the foreign trade investment. Because whenever we are talking about foreign market, whenever we're talking about exports also, we need to understand how much of investment is getting attracted by India. So the inflows has been 55.6 US billion dollars, and that includes surge by 17.9%. Where I'm getting it, as in where is the investment getting attracted a lot? That is in services as well as software also. 19.1%, 14.1 percentage. These are the top sectors here, right? So it clearly says that although we are having a lot many problems, that still we are doing better. Now this is the story of GVA. You can clearly see this is the total GVA, which is standing at what, 7.3 percentage. This is agriculture one, which is contributing 3.1. This is industry, which is contributing 6.2, and services are all-time high, 9.1 percentage, right? Now we need to bring betterment in these, and whatever the gap which is existing in these three, we need to bring betterment here. Now the first sector, which is agricultural sector, you people already know we are having a lot of dependence of many individuals on it. Basically 40% of population are all dependent here only, and that is agricultural sector, that is primary sector. What is the contribution made by agricultural sector towards GDP? That is 16%. Mark my words, related question can be asked in the paper, and direct question can be asked in the paper, right? Direct question can be asked in the paper. Even if you're getting question associated with agriculture for say, you can mention this data there, right? You can clearly mention this data that as per this recent survey, this clearly says that this is the contribution that has been made by that specifically agricultural sector here. The performance has been increased, rural demand is gaining momentum here, and many interventions are behind it. You can clearly see these are the government support to the farmers here. The first one is National Food Security and Nutrition Mission, edible oil seeds, edible oil plan, palms here, Krishi Vigyan Kendras, FPOs and cooperatives, Fasal Bima Yojana. We are having Krishonati, Yojana, Digital Agriculture Mission. Believe me, if there is a mention of these many schemes, super important from the examination perspective. Even if you're preparing for RBI or NABARD, it actually becomes very important. For the input support, we are having best initiatives taken for high yield seeds. We are having Pradhan Mantri Krishi Sinchai Yojana, soil health card, fertilizer subsidy, Kisan credit card scheme, establishing custom hiring centers, food and mouth disease control program for livestock is part of it. Matsya Kisan Samriddhi Sahay Yojana for fisheries is also part of it. Income support ke liye we having Kisan Samman Nidhi, which is known as PM Kisan, minimum support price, and Mandhan Yojana is also part of it. So these are the many schemes written here, and each and every scheme becomes very important from the examination perspective. You need to cover that, and that too very thoroughly. Now understand what is the status of industrial sector. Believe me, when I say industrial sector here, that is associated with the manufacturing one. This is also very important sector for India. What we have done previously, jumping directly from primary sector towards the services one. I know services sector is contributing. But this is very concentrated in nature. Why I'm calling it very concentrated? Because those individuals who are skilled individuals will be able to enter this particular sector. You people already know about it, right? Manufacturing sector and primary sector is the one where it is actually going through a lot of problems also, right? So what is left behind? Manufacturing sector. This is best of the non-farm activity. This is one of the best of the non-farm activity I'm having, and I need to exploit its resources. And the data clearly says that somewhere or another we are doing better also, thanks to PLI initiative. If it works in a better way, people will be able to achieve Make in India targets also, and accordingly we people will be able to become Viksit Bharat, and that too by 2047 if we bring betterment. Okay, again we need to work a lot. This doesn't say, if it is showing me better numbers, it doesn't say that we'll be becoming Viksit Bharat by 2047. We need to work on that. The overall growth is 6.2% growth in 2025, thanks to electricity and construction as well. Compound annual growth rate is standing at 17.5% from 15 to 24, and that too specifically in electronics. In pharma, we are doing better. The average growth is by 10.1%, and we've got turnover of 4.17 trillion turnover. We are doing betterment in the auto as well as steel also. There is a surge of 12.5%, and where we see steel specifically 4.6%. And this is what is the performance of services sector here. You can clearly see that the share of the GVA here is standing at 55.3%. Other sectors are contributing 44.7% here. It is actually contributing a lot, right? It is the one which is attracting a lot of investment. It is the one which is actually ensuring betterment in trade, right? In trade, it is the one which is attracting a lot of employment also, right? But it needs something which is skills, right? Which is skills. Do we have better skills? The answer is clearly no. Do we have resources? Yes, we are having demographic dividend with us. Young population is still better than the aged population. You see the countries like China. China के पास जो भी problem है, that is what? That is like specifically young population only, right? People are like people are specifically not at all getting married. Like they are not at all like happy in giving birth to a child. Like one of the like bad factors behind it, one child policy of China itself, which was started. I know it was actually closed near 2016 also, but by that time, bad impact was actually created, right? Bad impact was actually created. Like if you try to control the population in a certain way, they get habitual of that, right? They try to implement that in their families. They try to think in that way only. But now, like you see their cases. When I specifically talk about the fertility rate this year, it is all-time low in China. So this is problematic situation. If we don't have young population, who's going to work there? Who's going to work there? So that is a problematic situation. We need to work on that. If you ask me from the perspective of India, still we are having better population with us. But this particular resource is not going to stay with me for a longer period of time. By 2050, I'll be watching that young population will start declining. So jab tak resources hai, you better utilize it. And this clearly says that if I want services sector to be utilized very correctly, I need my young population to learn skills. Do we have skills? No. Whatever education we are getting from the institutes and whatever industries are demanding, there is a gap, huge gap in between that. I need to come up various of the initiatives to bridge that out. Then only I'll be able to work there. Which two sectors need to work? Like which two sectors need proper work? One is education, another one is health, right? Remember that. So although we are having these numbers, but it can be improved if we work in our education sector along with health sector also. And it clearly says that although we are actually claiming today that India is having high potential GDP standing at 7%. This is not like numbers that I've got all of a sudden and maybe free number that I've got. I've actually worked for it, right? I've actually worked for it. Government has actually worked on something which is capital accumulation. We are focusing on capex. We are focusing on capital expenditure. Even if government is taking loan from any other party, even if World Bank is actually investing here, I need to ensure we are actually investing on the productive. I'm actually doing productive expenditure. It means I'm actually investing somewhere where it creates assets for me and it reduces liabilities for me. This is what I clearly want. Private investment is also getting attracted here, right? Private investment is also getting attracted here. Although in FPI cases, I've seen a lot of alternatives have been found out. I know this thing that FPI mein there was actually outflow here. There was outflow here. But if you ask me from the perspective of FDI, there is actually inflow here, right? So that has been something which has been showcased here. Logistic reforms has been brought. But clearly telling you, if you ask me that are we better as compared to other world, because if you people remember, recently one Asia Manufacturing Index has been released. Asia Manufacturing Index has been released, which clearly say that India is ranked 6th here. India is ranked 6th here. Now, what is the problematic situation? China has been ranked first. China has been ranked first. Why it has been ranked first? Because this is Global's factory. This is known as Global's factory. We have been ranked 6th here. Why? Do we have better logistic cost here? No. Countries like Singapore, countries like China, they are providing better logistic cost to individuals. Is our Make in India initiative successful? No, clearly no. Are we providing them ease of doing business? No. Or this is just the concept in papers only. So we need to actually focus on these many areas also. Labor inputs. You people already know that we are having two of those sectors. We are having formal sector and informal sector. Where to protect our informal sector, we are, recently we've actually implemented labor codes to protect them out. We are actually coming up with a lot of initiative. For example, employment linked incentive scheme recently implemented just to focus on employability also, just to increase skills, right? And also to make people enter more into formal sector so that they get social security. Total factor productivity is also the focus of the hour here. We are focusing on digital public infrastructure, regulatory simplification, efficiency gains as well. Accordingly, This is something which is talking about education. You people already know we are investing a lot on education here. We are having national education policy which was having great achievements and great dreams as well. I need to ensure 100% of gross enrollment ratio by 2030. I want to achieve 50% gross enrollment ratio by 2035, right? And this is about the school education, this is about the higher education, so this is also the number that I need to increase here. As per this UDISE here, you can clearly see 90.9% for grades 1 to 5, 90.3%, 90.3 score grade 6 to 8th here, 78.7 like grades, like specifically the score here for that's in the ratio here, right? For grade 9th to 10th, and 58.4% grade 11th to 12th here. This is the recent data about it. Again telling you this is important. UDISC data is important, ESH data is also very important, and this is what I need to ensure. I need to ensure inclusivity as well as equity. I remember recently UGC has come up with its equity regulation, so I told you there also that there is an implementation or there is an availability of equity word in the national education policy as well. I want everyone to access it, right? So for that, we are having many initiatives taken. I want SC individuals to access it. I want ST individuals, women, everyone I want to access it, right? So for that, we have taken help of Janman Yojana, Janman initiative. We are having like specifically, right? When I specifically talk about like Dajgua as well, right? So that is also part of it, right? Eklavya model residential schools are also part of it, EMRS. So like these are the initiative which has been taken for these many like disadvantaged groups here. Multilingualism is part of it, where we are taking help of what? Bharati Bhasha Pustak scheme. Universal Nipun Bharat is also here. Nipun Bharat means I want people to learn maths and maybe to learn science as well. And the grade that has been set here, that is 3rd grade, okay? Along with that, academic structure plus curriculum reforms has been made. For example, EBC, right? For example, structure has been changed here. 5-3-3-4 structure as replaced 10+2 structure. Learner-centric education has been made, where Vidya Samiksha Kendras have been made to just continuously monitor the performance. Internationalization is also part of it, where 100% of FDI is actually allowed in higher education. So that is also part of it here. Now, these are the reform agendas. We are here with the ease of doing business 2.0, and the philosophy has been very easy in nature. I actually want a lot of individuals to come here and invest in India. I want many individuals to come and make in India. For that, what I'm providing them, that is ease of doing business. I'm focusing on my infrastructure. I'm focusing on my better labor, that is skilled labor. Right? This is specifically talking about better infrastructure. I'm going to like ensure the availability of resources also. I want to ensure that logistics costs gets decreased so that people get attracted here. I want to ensure that many utilities should be very correctly used. So these are the objectives that I want to achieve. Again, telling you, just keep in your mind the example that I gave you of Asia Manufacturing Index, right? Specifically, Asia Manufacturing Index, where India has been ranked 6th here. Do we have better logistic costs as compared to Singapore and China? No, not yet, but I need to focus on it. Now, there is one important effect here that has been mentioned, the butterfly effect. Now, the butterfly effect clearly says that how small steps taken like today are actually worth of bringing betterment tomorrow, right? So this is all talking about itself. Along with that, this all says that although we are having many problems here, Trump tariff imposition, lack of market, geopolitical tensions going on, AI related aspects, but we are having many opportunities as well. Our demographic dividend is with us. Until now, it is the one which has protected us. Green energy transition, AI productivity gains, and many more as well. This is never going to like turn me down. I am still having many opportunities, and accordingly I'll be able to achieve the objective also. And this is what is the coming path here. We are forecasting the growth in between 6.8% to 7.2%. And this is the strategic vision. I need to invest on like to counter protectionism here. I need to like enhance, I need to diversify my trade also. I need to enhance better collaborations with the global markets as well. I need to attract a lot of private capital investment also. I need to focus on my skill development also. I want my demographic dividend to be ready for industries to work, right? I want my demographic dividend ready, like to work in various of the industries here, right? Because I'm having resources with myself. I'm already having demographic dividend. All I need to do is to utilize them, right? All I need to do is to utilize them, because this is not something which is going to stay with me for a longer period of time. So usse pehle I need to utilize them. And this is rapid revision of everything that we have done till now. This is all about numbers. What is the GDP forecast? Between 6.8 to 7.2, exports standing at 825.3 billion, inflation all-time low, 2.0 percentage, even less than 2.0 percentage. What is the fiscal as in GNP ratio here? That is 2 points as in the fiscal one, 2.6 percentage. And the theme has been very caution, not pessimism here. I'm actually going to focus on the deregulations as well. All right, so this has been the entire highlights of it, clearly telling you this is just summary of everything here, right? I would say summary of summary as well. This is just highlights of it. Soon we'll be coming with the chapter wise chapter survey details, and again telling you this is important for every examination, be it UPGC, be it UPSC, be it regulatory examination, be it any state specific PCS. Also for every examination this is super important, right? All right, thank you so much for joining the session. If you're confused about your preparation here, you can join this particular course, which is RBI Grade B 2026 complete course, which includes phase 1 and phase 2, and that too with books. These are the many facilities that you people will be able to get here, right? All right, having any doubt, you can mention that in the comment section, and accordingly we'll be addressing it up. Thank you so much. Take care.